Hiya, I'm your host Terry J. Aman, and with Kesha, Kukuruza, Benjamin Cole, Kiss, K7, Kim Wilde, Les Ketchup, Kim Richey, Katie Lang, Katie Tunstall, Carla DeVito, Kansas, Kendall Kelly, Kelly Clarkson, and Kate Bush, this episode of VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack is brought to you by the letter K. Hit it! VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. Episode 14, Osito. Guten Tag, ich bin Ihr Moderator Terry Aman und mit Kesha, Kukuruza, Benjamin Cole, Kiss, K7, Kim Wilde, Les Ketchup, Kim Richey, Katie Lang, Katie Tunstall, Carla DeVito, Kansas, Kendall Kelly, Kelly Clarkson und Kate Bush wird Ihnen diese Folge von VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack präsentiert vom Buchstaben K. Schluss! VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. Folge 14. Bärchen. Buenos dias, soy su anfitrión Terry J. Aman y con Kesha, Kukuruza, Benjamin Cole, Beso, K7, Kim Wilde, Les Ketchup, Kim Richey, Katie Lang, Katie Tunstall, Carla DeVito, Kansas, Kendall Kelly, Kelly Clarkson y Kate Bush. Este episodio de VideoFuzzy de banda sonora es presentado por la letra K. Dale! VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. Episode 12, Osito. Yep, willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. This is the one I've been talking about. Very excited. I actually called into Listen to the Feed podcast half a year ago now to make sure I was allowed to speak Spanish or German in an English language podcast. Of course, you all had to put up with that for a moment. I took Spanish in high school and German in high school and college for all the good it did, as you see. But this episode seemed to be a perfect opportunity to talk about world music in my collection. Title track. Before I get into any of that, however, I want to welcome and celebrate the absolutely lovely Benjamin Cole. I have been enjoying this great, big, beautiful Bears music since I first encountered him online, and I've since craved a chance to reach out and chat about his music, his inspiration, and his energy. Senor Cole, benvenido a VideoFuzzy la banda sonora.
Oh, thank you.
From DJ to lyrical powerhouse. The energies in the songs themselves, how you came to a project like 8 Days in the Bear's life, and you went from, when I first heard your music, you were doing club mixes, you had the wonderful artist Perfected as one of the vocal artists you were working with, and really great energetic club mixes, but then you really started exploring your lyrics, and in your more recent projects you've had some introspective lyrics, but also some stuff that's just really fun to listen to, fun to dance to, but also contains some message. How has your musical influence and how have your musical influences evolved over years? You've certainly been doing this since the 90s, so we'll go back a ways. Yeah.
Forever with other names. But, you know, the moment when I started, I was 20-something, and I wanted to be an artist, but I discovered that I didn't do well with fame. Fame was something, popularity, I didn't do well with that. And I got scared because the first thing I did, it was a little hit, and they took me to TV, to a TV show, and all of a sudden...
So you were already dealing with like audio and visuals as well.
Yeah, so. But that was in the early 90s, or it was 1994 or something. And then I went to the show, and you know, 1 week I was invisible when I went to bars. The next week I was totally visible. And I had a really bad time, so I decided not to be an artist, but to be a music producer. So I developed all my career over the 90s until 2008 as a producer in the background. Then I retired for 3 years because I needed to reevaluate because I had been working for Warner and big companies like that, and it got very political and not about the music. So then I decided in 2012 or something to come back, but with my own label, producing my own artists. But then I realized what I really wanted was to explore again being an artist. And then at first, I just went with the flow. The first songs I wrote were Two Men Kiss because of the Pulse tragedy. I heard that the guy that did all that, he felt an aggression when he saw two guys holding hands and kissing and all that. And I said, well, we need more songs about kissing and about holding hands and all
this
and
has
all
to stop being
Yeah.
so
we need more visibility.
unusual.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to get upset with it, you're going to get upset by a whole lot of stuff because it's everywhere.
So we need to be more visible. So I started that way, writing songs about what I felt I needed to put on the community.
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting road because, as you said, I began to release albums, not really thinking too much about what I was doing. I was just going with the flow and writing about stories that friends told me or things I saw or things that happened to me. But it was with 8 days in a bird's life where I really had to face who I was or who I could be as an artist. And I challenged myself to do an album in 8 days. It was like I had been so busy with Osito and all the other albums doing music videos and everything that I hadn't really had the time to write. So I said, why not go back to the 90s and lock myself up in a place and force myself to do an album in a week?
And
let
me talk to you about, okay, so Osito's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really great fun songs there, but you move to 8 days, and there are some powerful songs in there, and also you had a good series of videos with that set of music, too. So not only your lyrics, but also your visuals that you included with that were very powerful, and I wanted to ask you where the development was there. Did you work with somebody new, or did you just have inspiration that you hadn't...
I think it was facing that challenge of having to do the songs, because I said, I'm going to, each day of this week, I'm going to write and record the song. And I'm only going to allow myself an extra day after this challenge to finish. But it has to be like that, unpolished. It has to be whatever comes out. So the first day, it was shocking because I put myself in front of the piano and the first song was really sad. It was Make Your Own Luck. And it's a song about how my family never supported me as an artist and how you feel different your whole life because you're not only gay, you're creative. It's like you're the outsider. And it's the first demo is really sad. And that's why I made it more up-tempo. Because I found out, maybe because of the influence of the gay producers of the 70s, that drama works well with speed. If you speed up the drama, it's a way of having a catharsis, like getting that drama and turning it into something different. You can dance to it and you can let it go.
I mean, I don't know if anyone can hear this in the background. We've got Elton John singing "I'm Still Standing." We've got Gloria Gaynor, "I Will Survive," and the kind of music that Donna Summer had an important one.
MacArthur Park.
Yeah. So it feels like you had some inspirations that you drew from that. It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to make it palatable, because you also had some, Changes was a song that you had done earlier, but it was one that I think it's a lot of fun. It's a club banger, but also the next day you've got a message in your head that you're thinking about changes.
Yeah, because
you've got to make changes.
It's about the hypocrisy of our society.
And rainbows standing up proud.
But it's proud from within. For me, I've always been conflicted with the word pride, about gay pride. I don't think it's the right. I don't think I'll be the one to come up with the right word, but I don't think pride, pride needs to be explained to the straight people, because it sounds like we are better than you, and it's not about that. It's because we've been so beaten, we need some reassurance that we are worthy, that we have to be proud of ourselves and all that, but that doesn't mean you are better than anyone.
I think anyone growing up in this culture is going to have responded to it in a way of, we've been negatively impacted, and we need to find that positive energy to explain who we are. And coming to that, now you started in Spain and then moved to Mexico.
I was born in Spain. My mainstream career, I did it all from Madrid in Spain. I was recording there. I had my studio there. I had offers to move to South Beach and do my stuff there, but I didn't want to. Felt more comfortable in Madrid. And then Mexico happened because I met my husband. We met online on 2012. One thing led to another, and there was a point when we decided we had to be together, and it was easier for me to move to Mexico, and my work can be done anywhere. Mm-hmm. So, and I also saw it as a challenge, and it was nice. I'm really happy living in Mexico. Guadalajara has been a surprise. It's a beautiful city, and it's very inspiring because it has a vibrant bear community. We have Bearland there, and we have Beef Dip in Puerto Vallarta with Steve Butchek. It's really, I love it. I love it there.
And Osito is absolutely a celebration of bears.
Oh, yeah.
Bears.
Osito was...
yeah.
There was a bar that was very short-lived in Guadalajara that had that same structure the video has. You know, people got there, then there was a drag queen, the same one that's on the video. She did like a
I think it was Club Monica, but it might be Club Monica. Yeah,
Monica's was a club that was before, but this one was based mostly on both, and it was like the representation of a perfect night in a bar, in a bear bar. So
and it was just fun. I mean, don't lose my number.
yeah. No, the making of that song, it's super fun. I was in Puerto Vallarta. I went into a grocery store, and the lady was like minding her own businesses on her phone, and two skinny guys, came into the grocery store, and they were like, all hands and all that. They came near to the coffee machine, and the lady says, "Por favor, no toquen, está caliente. Please don't touch, it's hot." Mm-hmm. And they just got the word caliente, and they were, caliente, caliente, caliente. And I said, oh my God, I have the song. And I began to write that day. All the songs that I heard American people or in Puerto Vallarta were saying, repeating Spanish words, all the Spanish words, I wrote them in a note, and then I wrote the song one by one using all those words.
Oh, fun. Oh, that was a great inspiration. I was going to actually got into, because it's a focus for this episode. My music collection features about a dozen foreign language entries, and many of them were artists in this set, so I was going to have that as a focus of this one. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to ask you about, do you write in Spanish or English, or do you translate after you?
My musical upbringing was in English. Mm-hmm. And in fact, all my notes, since I was 15, my music notes are all in English. You get my notebooks, and everything is in English. So I began to have some relationship with the Spanish culture and music when I became a big producer for big companies, because I had to produce some Latin artists. But I always faced those challenges as if I was German or something. You know, I was discovering the way of expressing things in Spanish. I didn't have the... And nowadays, I usually write in English, but sometimes there's a song in Spanish. And in this album, there's another song in Spanish.
Like Sin Me is one that I heard, and Que Tierra...
Te Quiero Junto a Mí.
Yeah, ones that are almost exclusively in Spanish.
In Spanish.
What I wanted to say about that is high school Spanish from 1,000 years ago, I honestly don't have a lot of grasp of what's the message of the song, but in those situations, I'm reacting to the music and the sounds, and like I feel like I can hear the emotion that you
See, me, it's a very tragic song. It's about someone that's sour. About you imagine you have a partner, and that partner one day comes to you and says, "It's not you, it's me. We need to break up because I'm not ready for a relationship or whatever." And the next week he's already marrying another one. So you're singing the song and saying, "You're doing so well without me. I'm hoping you're enjoying it, but you will die the worst way possible." It's a very tough feeling song. It's a song very based in flamenco. It has a root, and flamenco is always really, meaty, and it's all
dramatic.
About dramatic. Then Te Quiero Junto a Mí, it's more of a poetical song. It's a metaphor about a summer day. you're happy and you're calm in a place with beautiful smells like cinnamon and lemon and all that, and you suddenly want to have that person with you. I want you with me. So it's about that. It's about the seduction of the Mediterranean Sea and the smells and the taste, and it's more of a...
You really bring a lot of sensual influences into your music.
Because I'm Mediterranean, sex is everywhere. It's inside everything. And for example, in the new album, the Spanish song, it's called Entre Amigos, Between Friends. And it's a song about, I'd rather have sex with friends than with an unknown person. So it's about that.
What was it? I had...
It's like a demi song.
Some advice. Every great love story begins with a great friendship.
Yes.
From love is all that matters. It was such a beautiful message, and it was part of the Valentine's video release, I think, that you did, and it was a beautiful piece. That was the acoustic, more stripped down version of that. Yeah. And I wondered how you decided to do, like, pull back energy-wise, make more of an acoustic track, and then sometimes it goes full club mix, and
because the first version
energy is so different in those, but they're both, it fits both, like, thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about ballads. A ballad is great when it can be interpreted slow and fast. If you can do that same ballad in both speeds, that's a great song. Because both speeds bring something different to the mix.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you really hear it.
That song, the first arrangement was the guitar one. And then the EDM version was made by my husband.
Oh, yeah,
Jose was that one.
Yeah. You've credited him in multiple spaces, and I think that he does bring an absolutely fantastic 2-in-1. There's one release that was all instrumental, and what I thought I was hearing in that was two different tracks that you kind of melded as a DJ, and then when you added the vocal track to it, it was such a beautiful, it became its own, like, a different creature, but also, I mean, the energy was there. Talk to me about that song.
That song was the first we wrote together, and it's like a fantasy of what if we have met that way. We were talking about how to do a song together, a duet, and we came up with the idea that there are two guys that were friends in school, but never dared to go further because they were scared of whatever, and then they found themselves later in life, and it's that's why I wish I could travel, go back in time, and live that life we could have lived together if we have been more stronger than society.
Or if life had been completely different.
Yeah.
Because there were always forces at every stage in our own existence. You can't really go back in time and yell at yourself because you were reacting to what you were living
through. It's more a song about let's enjoy what we have now. It's so beautiful. It could have been great if it had happened earlier, but we are fortunate to have it now.
My husband and I have about a 13-year age difference, and we've talked about this. And he said, "Oh, I wish I'd met you when I was in high school. And if I had met you in high school, I'd be arrested."
That's it. That's the song. I was telling yesterday a friend. The first night I got paid as a DJ, Martin was 3 years old. So just imagine.
I mean, we meet the people we meet in our lives, and they matter to us. And I just really love the expression that you've woven into, because that song almost sounds biographical, and I think that both of you did bring your energies into it, even though you have to interpret it.
It's not a war story. It's not a war story, but it's the energy.
Yeah, it absolutely
of someone that you find and you say, "Wow, that's the person."
A quick redirect, though. We've been talking before about the cultural discoveries you encountered in Guadalajara versus Madrid.
It sounds like a vibrant culture, and at least a good place to be able to explore some of the...
Yes, because, the thing, what surprised me of Guadalajara, it's like, I was used to, in Madrid, anytime I proposed something, I said, let's do this. It was like, no, because this, because that, excuses. And then you come to Guadalajara and you say, let's do an elephant over a giraffe in Dancing with Lasers. And they say, okay, let's go. So that's great because everything's possible.
Everything's possible.
So that's beautiful. And that's been the force behind my inspiration and all that. And I mean, now I'm working. I just finished a new album, and it's
I was absolutely going to bring that up.
It's a leap over the other one because 8 Days it was a surprise for me because there's a lot of songs that I didn't expect. I was going to talk about those things, but this time in this one, these are songs that they have been on repeat for more than a year. These are the songs that accompanied me up through all the cancer surgeries and everything. The song that opens the album is the first song I wrote after the big surgery, after being 1 month and a half in bed. That song was written in a day. It was like and it was about, wow, I'm alive. So all the album, it's exploring all that, like
a celebration of survival. Also, I came to you as a person who is a fan of bears and guys of size, and basically this message that you've had over the past years, you just also need to be looking at your health and be aware of your health. And I thought that was a great message because body positivity is fantastic, and I think we all should feel proud of our expression in this existence.
Yeah, and happy with ourselves, no matter the size, because most of the times, size it's a construct of big brands that don't want to spend more money on fabric, It's like that.
Cost saving. But it was an interview that you had given. I know that this has always been a fascination for you as well, and also it comes through in the in-house party. You see a man dancing, and he's chunky and he's beautiful,
and he's living his best life,
exactly living for the moment he's enjoying. And I wanted to ask you about creating that song. Was that someone you saw, or was this an image in your head that you?
No, it's.
Because you've been DJing forever now, and so you've absolutely been at those parties.
Yeah, but this may come as a surprise, but I'm too shy. I'm very bad with. I go to events, but I'm always working them. Because that's a way of protecting myself, of not having to mingle. Because I'm terrified of mingling, of talking with people. It's very triggering for me. Because I don't know. I don't know how to be superficial. Maybe that's the thing. So this song, it's a lot about. When I was in that scene, my thought was like, this generation, they are so blessed of not having to go through what we went. Because my generation was not the one that our gay dads were the ones that were hit by AIDS and all the sadness and all that. It was the 90s. Every week there was a burial of someone. It was awful. There was no joy. There was joy, but through rage. It was a rageful
defiance.
Joy. Yeah. But now you have them, this generation, they have PrEP, they are discovering freedom, and you see guys that they don't have any fear in it. And I was looking at that guy and I was saying, I know I cannot be that guy, but oh my God, it's fascinating.
What a beautiful life.
Yeah, what a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and so to be able to celebrate that in your song. And one of the things that I wanted to ask about was you have some songs that are more of a emotionally complex, more introspective songs. Is Can I Be Loved was one of the ones that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Don't Say a Word. I thought that was just such a... I mean, for someone who might be defined as a brand as being more like party music and club scene, you've got some songs. Looking for Summer was one of the ones that just really struck me. I don't know, I may be telling on myself. If I hear a song in a minor key, it makes me feel more...
No, but that song, it's... that's a Chris Rea song. I just did a cover. I did a cover. But what I tried was to inflict a little more emotion on the music, because his original music is more cold, because he's colder and distant. And I try to be a little more involved in the emotional core of the song.
I heard that. I absolutely heard that. And I was like, is this something that came through? Because it felt like something that I heard infused in the 8 Days tracks, but also just it's not absent from your music. You come to this with emotion, with like personal emotion. And
because the thing is, I don't really enjoy ballads. Maybe because I'm very, active and nervous and all that. The slow music, it's difficult for me to sit down and listen. And I've done there's a new ballad on the new album. And I think it's the only ballad I like. But the thing is, you can express the same, don't say a word. It's like a ballad, but speed up. Mm-hmm. And it's a song that song is about a friend.
Yeah.
It's that friend that has everything to have a beautiful and healthy life with a guy that will love him forever. But then comes that other guy that's a delinquent and the bad guy, and he falls for the bad guy. And he feels guilty, but he cannot help it. He will be falling for that. And that obsession with, I don't know, it's a kind of a masochism, I don't know.
Or an attraction to danger, or it's going to end badly, but...
No, but they don't really enjoy it. That was the thing. This guy, he almost got his life destroyed by one of these guys. And he was like sad he couldn't feel that same thing for a decent guy.
And music and lyrics for Traitor
yes.
are like absolutely no context whatsoever. Tell me about that song. Who was that?
That's not my story.
Yeah.
It's a friend's story that someone told me about, and it's not the same guy as Don't Say a Word, but it's similar. It's a friend of his. They both have those, and it's about that. It's that person that comes and tells the other friends, "I'm the good one," but it's not the good one. He's the silent killer. He's the one that's killing you, and that he's the one that's doing all the machinations and all the. But you can only call him a traitor because you feel betrayed.
And you had mentioned that when you compose in English. So I'm wondering if sometimes you're trying to find the words that fit the situation. You've got to make the words fit the music, and sometimes it feels like there's like...
You'd be surprised by the inspiration. In my case, works in a way that words can't come to me. It's like on this new album, there are more intricate lyrics. In fact, there are some songs connect with, for example, you mentioned Can I Be Loved? It's a very sad story, but I think every gay man has been at one point in his life there. Absolutely. That Monday when you wake up and you say, what the what am I doing?
What even was that?
Yeah. There's another song in the new album that it's about the same character. It's called Nights with Strangers. And it's a song about I spend the night with strangers trying to fill the void inside. And, for example, that one has a very intricate meaning and all the words and all. It was like, wow.
It was just fully formed.
Yeah.
Well, I think that after, that's kind of how our brains work, is that you've got ideas.
Processing.
And then you get in front of a microphone, it comes out. And,
well, that has happened to me more than once, that I've got an instrumental. I have the melody of the vocals, but I don't have the vocals. Then I put the mic, and I began to riff, and the lyrics happened that way.
I wanted to ask you, what's the name of the LP? Have you named it?
I've been having troubles with the name of the album because first, there are a lot of songs. I wrote 20 songs.
That's a lot of songs for an LP.
I want to cut it down.
That's a double LP.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I want to cut it down. I want to cut maybe 5 songs and leave them for after, because there are 5 songs that are pretty dramatic. And a friend of mine told me, if you publish this at this moment with your health and all that, it feels like a goodbye. It's not. And I was telling him that it's not a goodbye. It's a song about I'm happy with the person I am and I'm holding his hand. And he said no, it's over dramatic. The thing is, I've been through 36 names already. For the album, I'm still deciding. It will be decided with the artwork. I've been working also, I have like 4 or 5 different cover ideas, and I think it will be decided with the artwork. The thing is, it's an album that, although it has been written through terrible circumstances, it's very uplifting.
I'm so glad. And just so that I say it, I mean, talking to you, you look like you're in excellent health. I know that you've had a few scares, and you've...
No, but I take care of myself. I do the best of the best I can to be well, and I have good doctors. I obey and live a very healthy life. That's maybe why
No, I just wanted to say, in case anybody was listening, wasn't he just going through chemo? And it's like, well, you never know it, and that's just, I mean, good to see.
I did 8 cycles. No, I may look well, but I'm tired all day.
Oh, I hear it absolutely takes a toll. So.
Oh, yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'm really hopeful, this album, these new songs, I don't know where they come from, those songs, but they come from somewhere, and they are powerful, and I'm really proud of them. I'm really happy, and I can't wait. Oh my God.
You are an absolutely fantastic inspiration, I think, so many people. I wonder who's out there that you're listening to, who's doing this that you
Prince. His first 10 albums are the Bible to me.
Oh, I mean, as a creative influence, you can't really get much better.
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah, there we go.
Morris White, he's a huge influence. Cameo. Larry Blackmon, he's a really good musician. I admire everything about him. Michael Franks, I love Michael Franks, the way he does storytelling. I think I'm trying to learn from him how Don't Say a Word is very influenced by Michael Franks. The way of telling the drama, but from an emotional side, from being in love with the drama. You know, like not judging that person that's wrong.
No, that's some fantastic influences, and obviously, I feel like they've given you some really good grounding, because when you make a release, it is polished. It is some of the best musicality that I'm running into anywhere on the net. And Ben, I wanted to thank you so much for your time and for sharing your energy with me and just being a part of this project, because I love being able to tell people about the music that I love, and I've been collecting since high school, and I'm
a music collector myself, so I understand.
When I had encountered you, like I said, later, I mean more recently, but also I've really just enjoyed exploring this catalog while I've getting ready for this interview, and certainly over the last few years been listening to you and just like, wow, it's just great to have somebody out here who's like who's this creative and also this willing to share. And I was so happy to be able to. If you're going to make it all the way to Vegas, I am going to make it from Utah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
it. Thank you, Benjamin Cole. My goodness, that was amazing. I want to highlight a few first. The LPs I have for him are Songs for a Better Future from 2017, All Systems Go from 2020, Once in a Lifetime from 2021, Osito from 2022, and from 2023 I have 8 Days in a Bear's Life. His next LP slated to come out this fall. He also recently released an anime-themed lyric video for Don't Say a Word. It's on his channel now, and that link is in my show notes. Title track discussion. Also, his title track for his 2022 release, Osito, literally Little Bear, is a Spanish language release with a few English passages. Osito caliente, gordito y bonito, ven despacito, que mono, ven que te mire, que rico, porque eres lindo, Osito, Osito. It's such a celebration of bears and bear culture, singing to this hot little bear he's met in the club. How cute are you? How delicious. And other lyrics like, tell me who drew you. You aren't real. And what is the recipe for this cake? I want to eat you all up. Also, dance parties like House Party and Beautiful Nothing. And, oh goodness, Big Better Love. You pop up in my feed, sending hot, sending fire. Where were you hiding? The seduction begins, but I won't be quick. Let's get playful. I can't resist. I won't try. Baby, tease me. Oh, you and me, we fit so right. Let me see you. Big, better love. Big and bold. No disguise. And I'm so feeling the rush. Crushing hard in your love. That thrummy, strummy bass line, an online romance morphing into real life, and the images from a couple of different video releases, one with more still manipulated images, the other a dance party with Benjamin in a shiny red rubber bar vest surrounded by great big beautiful go-go dancer bears, parallels with the Club Monica celebration and Osito, which beautiful visualization, celebration, lots of different bears and body types. I absolutely love what he brought together here. I'll talk more about his videos in an upcoming VideoFuzzy entry, but for right now I just want to highlight range of emotions, this club DJ, and he was celebrated. As we were walking through the event center, I met him for the interview. Attendees from the dance party the night before were stopping him on the way to tell him how much fun they had. And I love that for kind of an introverted guy with, let's call it a textured relationship with fame. He has such a great instinct for impresario, slinging the grooves, dance beats, makes it look effortless, but also finds a voice for deep thoughts, passion, storytelling. That life is not a dance floor. Lots going on in the day-to-day relationships, and his music, his lyrics tell our truths and our joys, our sadness, our triumphs, and yeah, from the interview, our defiance. Everything is possible. And I think, no, gracias, señor Cole, por el baile y las historias. Gracias. Benjamin Cole fits this set because Cole, of course, iTunes puts him in B's, but as I alluded to in our conversation, this set I had artists singing in Russian, singing in Innu, we've already heard Spanish, other artists in my collection singing Hindi, Swahili, German, Italian, French, Latin, Gaelic, Sanskrit, Arabic, Japanese, and Korean. Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee's Despacito featuring Justin Bieber shows up in a couple different languages in my collection, Spanish and science. That is, I also got acapella science, Tim Blaze song parody, Evo Devo, based on that. Normally when I've got 5 or more LPs by a single artist, they get their own episode. That was going to be tough with this one, since the focus on world music necessarily involves multiple artists. Plus, taking half a year off, things pile up. Let's think of episode 14 as one big, beautiful... Nope. That description is not available anymore, except ironically. This one will be organized as per usual, but I'll subdivide influences, breakouts, sparks into world music and standard. I'm just so excited, I don't want to hold nothing back, and in that spirit, let's get into this. Influences. World music. First, starting out with world music entries, artists with full LPs in my collection. Of course, I have multiple Benjamin Cole LPs in my collection. I think Osito was the first LP of his that I purchased, but it was quickly followed by Once in a Lifetime and 8 Days in a Bear's Life. I've since added All Systems Go and Songs for a Better Future, bringing me to 5, and then, as mentioned, Benjamin's got a new release coming out this fall. He was still reviewing titles and artwork for it as of our interview, but the sneak peek he shared with me was, this is really going to be some powerful stuff. Similar to this episode, and at the same time completely different, Benjamin's creative process was put on hold while he was necessarily focused on cancer treatment and recovery. It is pretty clear from the energy I heard he was ready to get back to work. For my part, I was mainly holding off until I could conduct this interview face-to-face, as it were. I do have a few more world music influences entries, though, to be fair, they date from the 90s, when if you were going to buy this music, you pretty much had to buy the cassette or the CD. 12 Girls Band, Eastern Energy, Kashin Aquatuta, and Kukuruza Crossing Borders all date from around then, late 80s, early 90s, then about, or rather, Eastern Energy is about 10 years along from that, released around the mid-aughts. 2 are a little more country flavored. The First Nations Canadian band Kashin released Aquatuta in 1994, reported double platinum sales despite Google reports only 13,000 speakers in the language that they sing in. I'm not sure how I heard of them. I think there might have been a marketing campaign. When I shared the cassette with my friend Curtis, he said they were just so inarticulate he couldn't enjoy it, and I absolutely got the joke. The songs are marketed as folk rock, and that's valid, but I'm absolutely hearing hearing more Zydeco and country influences. Title track Aqua Tuta, I'm told, translates to take care, never a bad message. I'm not trained in this language, and no infringement is intended. I only include this bass attempt as a reference. Please track down the original by the artists themselves and enjoy the song as it was meant to be heard. Aqua Tuta, Aqua Tuta, Aqua Tuta Shikwan, Kame Kuin, Aqua Tuta, Nakitwan Takishin Shikwan, Kane Tan Kuin. Hey, 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 hey. There's a few others I'd love to share here, but I can't find lyric templates for them. I'm not going to try. The lyric translation I had for that was, be careful what you do. Be careful with what has been given to you, the way you were raised. I have to take the word of a lyric site because Google Translate doesn't offer translations in Innu. I will encourage you to track them down, however. Kashin has a great vibe. With the Russian bluegrass band Kukuruza, NPR did a feature on them in the early 90s. I tracked down the 1993 cassette release, Crossing Borders. This was pre-Amazon, so I feel like I probably went to a discontent. All the budget discount tapes were probably discontents by then. Love the fun, edgy vibe to that name change. I carried my copy of Kukuruza to my first journalism post at Botno, North Dakota, and shared the Russian language songs with the theater troupe, bringing Fiddler on the Roof to the stage with Botno Community Theater in 1994. I thought it'd help us hear the accent better, but Border County North Dakotans were going to sound how we sounded. Still, it was kind of cool to have something reasonably authentic to work from. My grandparents on my dad's side were Germans from Russia, so probably this should have sounded better, but even with a romanized transcription to their a cappella opener to Porushka Porania, the copy I've got, lead vocalist Serena sounded like she was singing different sounds than what I was reading, so I erred on the side of what I heard. A dozen recordings later, I was still aware of some missing subtleties, but I'd gotten as close as I felt I was able to with my Western throat and lack of awareness, despite several translations to exactly what it was. No, we're not going to do this. No. Instead, I will share with you a link to a contemporaneous broadcast of Nashville Now, and you can enjoy this song the way it was supposed to sound that way. No, absolutely not. Accidentally singing about metallic underwear on sale for orange kittens. The translation I was given is supposed to be a declaration of love for Yvonne and his wonderfully curly hair, but even that seemed to coast into a wall about 3 translations back, so I'm not even going to try here. That's Kukuruza, Crossing Borders, and good luck. A 12 Girls Band was one of those music releases marketed via commercial, and clearly determined their instrumental take on Coldplay or their neo-funk version of Viennese staples was just the thing I needed in my music collection. In this case, there's nothing to approximate because the release was instrumental, and I will not be able to get my Donner keyboard to sound like something being played by 12 young Asian women. But in this case, I found a playlist on YouTube that is not mine, so it'll be available until it isn't, but I included in my show notes has most of the tracks on their Eastern Energy release from the mid-aughts. Robbie Robertson and the Red Road Ensemble curated a soundtrack for the Native Americans in 1994. I don't think I caught the series, but the soundtrack is wonderful. Powerful collection of songs. It actually features Kashin's Aqua Tuta in the lineup. I loved Makchi, the heartbeat drum song, and the Ghost Dance, which I'll try it, but it gives me chills just to sing it. You don't stand a chance against my prayer. You don't stand a chance against my love. They outlaw the ghost dance. They outlaw the ghost dance. But we shall live again. We shall live again. Crazy Horse was a mystic. He knew the secret of the trance. And Sitting Bull, the great apostle, of the ghost dance. The singer invokes Comanche, Blackfoot, Shoshone, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Cherokee, Paiute, and Sioux. You used to do the ghost dance. You used to do the ghost dance. You don't sing them kind of songs no more. In words of fire, deeds of blood, interspersed with native chorus, we had powerful statements from Chief Joseph of the Wallow Band of Napiers, rejecting removal to reservation. He asserted the earth was formed by will of the Creator with no lines of demarcation, addressing the delegation from Washington, Great White Father, in 1876. I never said the land was mine to do with as I choose. The one with the right to dispose of it is the one who has created it. I claim a right to live on my land, and accord you the privilege to return to yours. Well, I was out of town for most of the powwow here this year. I was off doing my interview with Benjamin Cole, but I was able to catch part of the final day. I gotta say, the energy for history and heritage, handmade regalia, and the joy of a great big family reunion, it's cool to witness. Closing the segment, I had 3 LPs in my collection by Irish artist Enya, her self-titled entry, as well as Shepherd Moons and Watermark. I've talked about her influence a couple different times, mentioning her involvement with Clannad, Irish band she was in the 1970s. I have their Aman in here, alongside the chant-core Latin music arrangements, Benedictine monks of San Domingo, and chant, and then also in episode 6 of this effort, Enigma's otherworldly best-of release, Love, Sensuality, and Devotion. Western music, the American market, songs have to achieve commercial success really in order for someone to have heard of them. People have heard of ABBA, they've heard of Ace of Base, they've heard of Bush, lots of British artists. What I'm doing here with world music, you have to seek it out. The soundtrack to Slumdog Millionaire, Indian music with so many Bollywood influences, Wakanda Forever, such a rich musicality, so many points of view. The music of Ibai, talked about them in episode 11. I never have encountered except on Stephen Colbert. Fascinating vocals and musicality. I've gathered world music into my collection so as to enjoy and experience sounds, ideas I otherwise might not, and my world is richer for it. Influences. Standard. This segment I'll focus on my K-artists specifically. My alternate concept for a title track for this set came from Kate Bush's Best of compilation LP, the whole story featuring such singles as Wuthering Heights, Running Up That Hill, and Experiment 4, but specifically Babushka, which qualifies as a lyric in Russian, but stands out for the same no-win situation you get in Escape, the Pina Colada song, which is if a couple has gotten bored with each other, instead of talking to each other about it, just looks around for next. That guy answers a classified ad in the personals column, shows up to find his lover wrote it. In Kate's scenario, what sounds like depressed wife tests her husband by sending him love letters signed Babushka, which he receives with excitement, especially given how distant his wife has seemed lately. She arranges to meet him in disguise, whereupon he declares his love for this secret admirer. Well, as self-fulfilling prophecies go, I will say I'm so glad I was able to meet with Benjamin Cole. I'm not certain a release with a single foreign word counts as world music, even if it is the title of the song. The other tracks highlight Kate Bush's art-drenched, uncommercial approach to music. It's not atonally weird like Laurie Anderson, but okay, so Running Up That Hill, perfectly good song. There's probably a track you could run beneath it that isn't Seals playing synthetic trumpets on a rusty swing set. The Wuthering Heights probably formed the basis for at least a few book reports in the 1970s, and sure, by all means, here's a literary reference. Check out her music videos, which doesn't really matter which one you look at. They're both interpretive dance forward and weird for the sake of weird. Probably you shouldn't click under related videos, Falls Productions Wuthering Heights dance tutorial, or the Wuthering Heights Day videos, unless you want a truly uncontrollable smile. Did I know people did this? No, I did not. And one I added is more of a generational vibe is Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss as Kiss releasing the very best of Kiss, compiled in 2002 from more than a dozen LPs and listened to by me, mostly with my friend Jason in high school. I wanted to say that there were maybe about 3 songs in here that I liked, but it may surprise you. It sure as hell surprised me. I gave 4-star ratings or higher to 16 of these 21 songs. Some of them are downright embarrassing. Lick It Up? Love Gun? No offense, but am I still 15 years old here? This band was not The Cure, Death Cab for Cutie, or Toad the Wet Sprocket. Kiss is actually a great name for a band focused almost exclusively on, well, okay, 2 things: physical intimacy and Gene Simmons' outrageous tongue. Most of their songs are celebrations of women they've loved, women they want, or women they're with. These emotions universalized for commercial success. And the last one sounds like a soundtrack reprise. God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which, incidentally, the level of grand showmanship in that song, it reflects the theatricality inherent in a group with cosmetics but rivaling that of Tammy Faye Baker. Generally, what you get from Kiss are driving power chord progressions, accessible, relatable lyrics stuffed with single entendre concerning raw human need and their target demographic, which at the time was me. And I wanted to pull my friend Jason on here to talk about his favorite band ever. Jason?
Yes. Jason Lund. Terry and I go way back to 1982, I think. We were very close friends in high school, and I had an annoying way of pushing my music on everybody, including Terry.
Well, you had a kind of an interest in it generally as a drummer, and maybe just amateur, but just as part of your interest maybe in getting into metal. Yeah. Well, why the hell am I talking? We've got you here. What built your interest in music generally, and then also Kiss specifically?
Well, it's real interesting. It was my exposure to Kiss that really got me into music. My family growing up, my parents really didn't listen to anything but Doc Severinsen and Herb Alpert's Tijuana Brass. So I by the time 1978 came around, I was 8 years old. I'd heard about enough. I mean, I appreciate that, but I'd heard about enough. And then at that time, I got, for my birthday or for Christmas, Kiss's double platinum from my grandma.
Wow.
Now, they were on top of the world in 1978, so that's probably the only reason she knew who Kiss was, because, I'm certain she didn't lavish in that kind of music. But anyway, there it was. There was my beginning of music, basically in general, rock and roll. That was my first taste of it, and I was hooked. I fell in love right away. I immediately grabbed up as many of their existing albums up until that point in time. Mm-hmm. And then I knew pretty quickly that I wanted to be a drummer when I got older because of Peter Criss. Yep. I had my mom's empty ice cream buckets in my bedroom, all around me. I don't know how many of her wooden spoons I broke, but there were several. And I would put a Kiss album on my little blue phonograph, and I would play along to all the songs on the ice cream buckets with the wooden spoon. So that was it. I was hooked. It's rock and roll is what I want to be a part of. So,
good intro. I mean, if you're going to choose anyone, that was a stylistically iconic group to glom onto, really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know any different. I feel after they just retired. Well, sort of December of 23, I think. December 23. So, whether you love them or hate them, they're one of the biggest groups in the world. It's like, I'm not a fan myself of the Rolling Stones, for example, or even the Beatles, but I know that they're iconic and they have their place in music history. And if it weren't for the Beatles, there would be no Kiss. Period.
Yeah.
They wanted to be a modern day Beatles. So, I felt lucky years later after they did their thing for 50 years that band kind of fell into my lap at such a young age.
Oh, for sure. And at 78, they had like a pretty good run already. I think that what I was hearing was that they formed in 72, 74. Give me better than the Wikipedia entry that how they came up on Kiss.
Yes, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, I believe, were in Wicked Lester, and the two other guys in the band, things just didn't work out, so they had to go their own way. And a couple things happened. The Village Voice was the big, sort of like the Minneapolis City Pages. That was a big place where musicians would put their ads that they were looking to join a band, or they had a band, they were looking for somebody else. So Peter Criss had an ad in the Village Voice, something to the effect of drummer willing to do anything to make it. They auditioned him, and long story short, he got the gig. And then Ace Frehley, basically his ad in the Village Voice said, guitarist with flash and balls. And Ace Frehley walked in for his audition with one like red sneaker, one yellow sneaker, and they're like, this guy's not going to work out. But as soon as they started playing a couple of the Wicked Lester songs, they knew they had the band.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, you were saying 73, right around there?
Yep, 73. And then before, they were actually driving down somewhere in New York, where they're from, New York City, and they were talking about potential band names. And, a couple names they threw out were already taken. At least some of them knew that the band was already taken. So just jokingly, somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody just threw out, hey, what about Kiss? And nobody laughed. Everyone was like, this is it. That's the name. That's what we're going with.
And so in terms of iconic, you've got the look as well, because the double platinum LP is going to have their full makeup. And so it had to be a kind of an interesting look for your grandmother to choose it. But when did they go for that stage presentation?
Oh, probably 1974. They put out their first album in 74, and they were dabbling, with the makeup. They, each time they played, they were different. They looked different every night because they really didn't know what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I think Gene Simmons said something like he looked like Phyllis Diller half the time, and so it wasn't too impressive. But then they once they signed their record deal and they put out their first album in 1974, their self-titled album, the makeup changed after that, but not by much. So, and then between 1974, really what put them on the map was when they did their Alive album in 1975. Really the only other live album that rivaled it was Peter Frampton's Come to Life, I think it was called. Those were the two live albums that were quintessential live albums for the 70s, and that as soon as they put out Kiss Alive, that put them on the map, and then that really took them to the next level. That's when they became millionaires, and also what destroyed one version of Kiss by the late 70s and early 80s.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, and so that's the group that you met as 8-year-old you, and oh my God, I need to be part of this world. I need to be a drummer. I need to, and went ahead and collected the back catalog, built your collection, because I remember when I met you, you had a wall full of cassettes of Kiss and lots of other musicians that you were drawn to, but certainly influenced well beyond Herb Alpert at that point. So,
right.
So, describe that part, because that takes an amount of discipline and also like dedication to put that kind of a collection together.
Yeah. I Double Platinum was the first album I ever owned. Like I said, I quickly scooped up, the self-titled album, then Hotter Than Hell, then Dressed to Kill, and then Alive, and then Love Gun, Rock and Roll Over. I think those are all the albums, because Double Platinum was really the first best of.
Yeah, best of.
And so and then during that time, I really got into, my four favorite bands at that time. Well, Kiss was my favorite. Blondie, Pat Benatar, REO Speedwagon.
Oh yeah, I remember listening to Pat Benatar in your room, I think.
Right. So those guys, they all carried me into the early 80s, and then again, still a major Kiss fan even to this day. But things changed as far as my direction went. More of the harder, the heavier metal. I think when I got Dawkins Tooth and Nail in 1984, 83, something like that. Then I started kind of heading off more in the hard rock, the glam rock, that kind of thing. And Kiss in the 80s, they weren't standouts like they were in the 70s. They kind of they took the makeup off. They fell in with all the other bands. They almost kind of got lost a little bit in there. So, and that's what carried me. And that's what, I first got into a band when I was 16, 1986. And I played in bands from 86 off and on through probably 96, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it was played a little bit of everything. Kiss, Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, you name it.
Wow. No, those are fantastic influences. Did you mention Doc? And I was thinking of them in terms of like their contributions to the horror Nightmare on Elm Street, and that kind of and Kiss had a movie presence as well. Although I mean, maybe that was a camp more of hey, let's see who can get to do this. Or but Star Child was it kind of fit with the But there was one thing that I was remembering about Kiss, and it was the satanic panic of the 80s, which was just more of like a cultural vibe at the time, but where you had people trying to backronym them as Kings in Satan's Service or Knights in Satan's Service. And then you have a song like God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which is like almost shut up. This talent, wherever it comes from, is not satanic in and of itself, you assholes. But just talk to me a little bit about the that part of the.
Yeah, I can tell you I'm a Christian, but in the early '80s I fell into the scare tactic piece of it. Like I got rid of all my Kiss stuff, like everything I had, I got rid of because I was 100% sure I was going to hell.
Yeah.
So. It
was solid marketing. They had a platform, and they were they were like attacking not just Kiss, but like a lot of really pushing an agenda that was like us and them, trying to like make division in I'll let you talk about it. I mean, it was, you certainly more survived and thrived in your own spiritual progression. And I wouldn't say it was despite having interest in music. Like you said, you were you were playing, you were in bands. You were, this was not.
I really got into Christian rock at that time. I kind of switched over to nothing but like a Resurrection band, Striper,
remember? Yep.
Barren Cross, all sorts of that stuff. And so that's kind of what I was listening to, because there were these tapes that somehow I got my hands on. They were talking about, the devil in music and backward masking and all this stuff. And I just got scared to death. And, I've always had a fear of going to hell, basically. So I said, well, hopefully this will help. And I, got rid of everything. But it was probably mid 80s that I decided, you know what? I don't think I'm going to hell for, listening to, music, at least the music I listened to. So I started recovering all the stuff that I had lost or given up. So,
yeah, because I knew that you had rebuilt that collection at some point. So it was and speaking as a person of this generation who has had to buy music on vinyl, on cassette, on CD, on MP3, and just like rebuilt collections, it's not an unusual story for people, but yours came with a backstory. So some of the songs that stood out to me, I was kind of surprised. Honestly, I thought maybe I'd like maybe two of the songs, maybe three of them. I have put 4-star or higher on 16 of these songs. Strutter, Deuce, You Got to Choose. One, and well, I mean, if you're going to have Kiss in your collection, you're going to enjoy on some level Rock and Roll All Night and Detroit Rock City. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud.
Yep, exactly. And when I sing that in the car, that's exactly how I modulate it too. It's exactly what you did.
Because you get to harmonize with the group. I mean, it's
create some harmonies. Yeah.
No, I remember that. Just like part of the influence on me on my musicality has also been some of the like that kind of like harmonizing, that kind of like well, I wouldn't say vibrato. The one thing that like I'm hearing actual like vibrato on, it sounded engineer, and calling Dr. Love, it sounds like they're moving the microphone back and forth
Right.
But
Yeah.
apart from anything else, no. I mean, it was kind of cool. I wanted to ask you about songs that were in this compilation that are in my collection. I did, like I said, there's more than what I mentioned. But what are some of your favorite songs from Kiss?
Well, geez. That's a tough one.
Let's see their catalog.
Yeah. Off their Dynasty album, 1979, Magic Touch is probably my favorite Kiss song. Their first Unmasked album, 1983, the Look It Up album, A Million to One, that's another favorite song.
Cool.
1984 is Animalize. Thrills in the Night is one of my favorites, but I love them all. I mean, the song that I decided that I wanted to become a drummer on was on Dress to Kill. It was called Love Her All I Can.
Wow.
And there's a little mini guitar solo in there, but then there's a little mini kind of a drum thing in there. And when I first heard that is when I decided that sounds really cool, and that's what I want to do.
That is so awesome. Because you just listed like 4 or 5 songs that are not even on this compilation. And I love that we're getting some deep cuts.
Yeah, I was going to mention, that was my first, like you mentioned, Strutter.
Strutter? I know a thing or two about her. I know she'll only make you cry. She'll let you walk the street beside her. But when she wants, she'll pass you by. Everybody says she's looking good, and the lady knows it's understood. Strutter.
That's the very first Kiss song I ever heard.
Yeah.
Strutter 78 was the first song I ever heard from Kiss. That's the first song on Double Platinum, and they did 78 because they actually re-recorded that song for Double Platinum. Now, when you look back now, Kiss's music is, without discrediting them, I mean, it's not complicated music. I mean, it's not Yngwie Malmsteen, it's not Rush, it's not, Dream Theater, but it what they did as a group, the chemistry, how they fed off each other, how they answered each other's licks on the guitars, and the four-piece harmony. That's the other thing I really enjoy about Kiss. I'm not saying they're not all Pavarottis, but they all took their turns singing their own songs on all the albums, and they really were one of the first bands to really do the a la the Beatles, the 3 and 4 part harmonies. So
no, I feel like, yeah, that's absolutely a good influence to have.
Yeah, that album you've got there is a staple. That's that album which you're talking about is the foundation of what allowed them to get to where they got to. So,
like, friggin', that's exactly the reason I reached out to get this kind of insight. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your time tonight, and wanted to thank you so much, Jason, for your time and your insight on this, because this is one I knew I could get some decent insight on. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, that took me way back. Wow, before I was even collecting music on my own. Although, talking to Jason, I remember we'd do homework in the loft at the gym, listen to music I'd recorded off the radio, which I thought was pretty cool. I hadn't thought of that in years. That's awesome. Again, man, thank you, Jason Lund, everyone. Breakouts. World music. Probably the closest thing I've got to breakouts in this set, that is world music artists with multiple songs in my collection, are Falco and Shakira, showing up with 3 songs each. And I could really talk about Shakira when I get to the S artists, but it's a good fit for here. I first encountered Shakira via her commercial top 40 releases anyway, but apart from Sesame Street, it's one of the earliest reactions I had to hearing a song in Spanish and enjoying the English translation. The first verse celebrates the adventure of 2 lovers closing the distance between them, then celebrating their love and how in love she is with him. Google Translate is likely not effective for Suete. The Spanish to English translation is just clunkier than what she actually sings in Whenever, Wherever, which is straight up effortless poetry. Lucky you were born so far away so we can both make fun of distance. Lucky that I love a foreign land for the lucky fact of your existence. I will climb the Andes mountains slowly, The count the freckles on your body. Never could imagine there were only 10,000 ways to love somebody. And this then is version in Spanish. Suerte que no serás nacido y que velemos las distancias. Suerte que haberte conocido y por ti empatías extrañas. Yo puedo escalar los Andes solo por ir a contar tus lunares. Contigo celebro y sufro todo y mis alegrías y mis males. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, 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 ole. Sabes que estoy a sus pies, contigo, mi vida, quiero vivir la vida y lo que me queda de vida quiero vivir contigo, contigo, mi vida, quiero vivir la vida y lo que me queda de vida quiero vivir contigo. Again, that's me. All errors are mine, approximating from a lyric service transcription. Google Translate informs me that she is singing, "Lucky that you were born in the South and that we overcome distances. Lucky that it is to have met you and for you to love foreign lands. I can climb the Andes just to count your moles. With you I celebrate and suffer everything and my joys and my evils." And the chorus, my goodness, that chorus is absolutely a beautiful message. I want to live all my days with you. But seriously, in Google Translate, poor thing, she sounds like she's having a stroke. Shakira is in Breakouts because along with Whenever, Wherever, I have her dramatic Objection, which is a cultural moment through the inclusion of not only tango dance steps, but also luchadors in her music videos, portraying Batman and Superman, helping her defeat her faithless lover. I also added Hips Don't Lie, which I love the collaboration with Haitian artist former Fuji Wyclef Jean, who lends some fantastic energy to that song. Falco was added to this collection with a certain amount of difficulty. Once upon a time, the only presence they had in my collection was an audio recording I made from their music video, which I promise you that lo-fi inclusion was one of my favorite songs once. I think a DJ friend of mine, Aman, recorded a copy of that single from work, and then the internet happened. I could just buy an MP3 and another one. Unfortunately, neither of the MP3s I purchased included the wildly engineered opening sequence I had for my copy of On the Heiße Recht Fraulein, demanding she be rocked by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, followed by the same and somehow more insistent demand by a gang of bikers. Ew, rock me, Amadeus. Rock me, Amadeus. Rock me, Amadeus. 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 Falco obliged, and we had a song with a boisterous punk energy and a fantastic music video for a largely foreign language pop hit, following at least linguistically in the steps of Nina's anti-war pop hit 99 Luftballons, released in 1984. Falco's song more likely owes some of its popularity to the hit movie release Amadeus the year before, and crackling around the edges from After the Fire's hit translated release of Falco's Der Kommissar, which German language version I've also added to my collection, and the hit English translation. To date, I have not. My third entry, Vienna Calling, is just an incredible amount of fun. North American city names seated in and among otherwise untranslated German lyrics and some English language snippets here and there. I hear it as a triumphant return from a world tour by a young band finally enjoying some popularity building up to a welcome in Australian accented English. The pride of Austria, our very own Falco! It's just... There's so much happiness in this recording, and such a loss, according to a clip from VH1 Behind the Music I have archived at disc 1504 in my classic collection. Terrible car accident in 1998 in the Dominican Republic, riding perhaps a decade of world notoriety, which, let's face it, name 5 musical groups from Vienna that aren't boys' choirs. You're doing better than me. Thank you for the time we had. Alles klar, Herr Kommissar. Breakouts. Standard. In Breakouts, artists in my standard collection can't believe I forgot to list Kesha up top. Oh, wow. First, the 3 I have from her, I just The two I've had for years spoke to me on a 90s college vibe level. I thought I remembered from the whole water bottle full of whiskey in my handbag kind of attitude when I was in high school, and all the prom pictures on the way to Cinderella concert. I'm no fool, nobody's fool, nobody's fool. Now I need to add more music to my collection. But yeah, it felt like back door cracked, we don't need a key. We get in for free, no VIP sleaze. Drink that Kool-Aid, follow my lead. Now you're one of us, you're coming with me. That song was Blow from 2010. It's time to kill the lights and shut the DJ down. This place about to tonight. We're taking over. No one's getting out. This place about to blow. Yep. Also, Take It Off. I pulled two songs together because I added them at the same time because I freaking love them both. There's a place downtown where the freaks all come around. It's a hole in the wall. It's a dirty free-for-all. Lose your mind, lose it now. Lose your clothes in the crowd. We're delirious, tear it down till the sun comes back around. And we're looking like pimps in my gold Trans Am. Got a water bottle full of whiskey in my handbag. They turn me on when they take it off. When they take it off, everybody take it off. There's a place I know if you're looking for a show where they go hardcore and there's glitter on the floor and they turn me on when they take it off. When they take it off, everybody take it off. About to blow. Oh, 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 blow. Oh, 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 oh. Not a terrible mashup, but Gold Trans Am gets me to Joyride, Joyride, which when I first heard this on my way home from a rehearsal or something struck me right in the feels. Are you a man? Well, I'm a bitch. I'm already rich, just looking for that. This party sucks. I'm about to ditch. Don't even try to give me shit. I earned the right to be like this. Oh, you say you love me? That's funny. Well, so do I. I'm just looking for a joyride, joyride. Just looking for a good time tonight. Baby, wanna wrap my energy till you make it purr. Keep, I come first. Beep, beep. Outside, getting loose for that joyride. It's a fantastic melange, projecting a power dynamic of supreme self-assurance. Like, okay, what losers shut up tonight? Okay, you, well, he'll give a good lick, but then he'll try reading me poems or something afterwards. No, thank you. Oh, God, the Nikkei closed down 9 points. I need a bite someone. Bored now. God, no cuddling. Beep. Your Uber is here. Go home. No, better yet, Bernardo, get in here. Smack his ass till I feel something. Joyride. This evil queen attitude for days. I friggin' love it. Incidentally, track the point of view from the 2010 Club Dom Strip Party releases up against the Joyride release. It was exactly 1 year ago. Independence Day. Making every motherfucker turn. Fell from heaven. No, it didn't hurt. Beep, beep. Best night of your life. Getting a loser for that joyride. It's dead on. That singer 15 years ago was exactly who would be singing this high concept, high heel, thigh highs, leather bustier, snap a whip singer now. Get a loser for that joyride. Kansas. I've had their Play the Game Tonight in my collection since I taped it off the radio in high school, though something is telling me I got that mixed up with Blue Collar Man by Styx. Play the game tonight. Can you tell me if it's wrong or right? Is it worth the time? Is it worth the price? Can you see yourself in the white spotlight? I'd rather be a blue collar man. Not sure. It's like I'm remembering the final gritty cluster where the DJ came in too early and the song ended so abruptly on my tape. But either way, it's in my collection now. I added in September of 2009. I was still features editor in Minot. I added Carry On Wayward Son in January of this year, so I was in a hotel room in Vernal, Utah. I guess wondering why I had Neoni's cover added in March of 2023 and not the original, which I think I did have in here as a lost track, one that failed to make the hop from one computer to the next. Korn is only a breakout technically, because I have the same song by them twice, but it's very, very different. When I was watching the pilot episode of Millennium in April for episode 102, I encountered Nine Inch Nails singing Piggy, which reminded me I didn't have Head Like a Hole in my collection, so I added both of those, which reminded me I somehow didn't have Korn's Freak on a Leash in my collection, so I added that one, which came up alongside the Unplugged duet from 2006 featuring Amy Lee of Evanescence, which I didn't have that either, so also added. Well, that's not entirely true. I find I did have the orchestral music video for that down-tempo collaboration on disc 1457 in my classic collection archive, but cuts in about half a minute in, so it's cool to have the full version, but it's also cool to see what I had of the Masquerade presentation as well. The orchestra wore eye masks, and the band members wore animal masks, while Korn lead singer Jonathan Davis and Amy Lee sang without masks. It was like Batman and Catwoman arriving at Max Schreck's Masquerade Ball as Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle wearing human masks to hide their true identities. Ooh. Well, they did an outstanding job. Jonathan, Amy, Korn, Amy Lee, they did an outstanding job. The studio and unplugged versions are very different vibes and absolutely count as two separate entries. I specifically mentioned Katie Lang up there because I was going to go line by line with Constant Craving to figure out exactly what her constant craving has always been. It's a whole feature-length tune. Oh, I've got her cover of Hallelujah in here too. It's fine. Rufus Wainwright's is better. Jeff Buckley's is better. I'll almost certainly be discussing this under L's next time. But yeah, my constant craving has always been. I have never known, and the song is zero help. Like 4/5 of the song is her constant craving and how it has always been. Song talks of something brave marching beneath her skin, contrasts our inclinations with our instincts, and sinks back into tautology. So, announcing the analysis or interpretation of Katie Lang and her constant lowercase, her constant craving has always been just that. Constant. Buddhism's four truths: existence is suffering, craving is constant. Her constant craving has always been constant. Not sure we needed 4.5 minutes to say that. No denying the purity of sound or artistry for sure. Last couple in this set are from shows, and I'll skip right past Keith Forsey here. I've got 4 songs in here by him. They're all instrumental, and they're all part of John Hughes' score for the Breakfast Club soundtrack. They're only in here because I needed to buy the soundtrack. I think I referenced this episode 1, actually, in order to add Carla DeVito's song, We Are Not Alone. I needed to buy all the others. Though, to be perfectly fair, looks like you can get them for $10, not the $16 I quoted from memory. Shrug. Kim Richey, however, is in this collection very much on purpose, specifically because she is the singer at the end of Angel Season 5 episode Shells. We say goodbye to Fred Burkle, leaving for college, her whole life ahead of her. We first met her trapped in the deep dimension of Piley towards the end of Season 2, so this farewell was also an introduction to her, young Winifred Burkle setting off to follow her dreams, over which is playing A Place Called Home by Kim Richey, and yes, I added this to my collection. As much as has been said about Joss Whedon and VideoFuzzy and Soundtrack over the years, the man knows from music, and this melancholy life story fit the vibe, exactly the right music for this moment, country-tinged loss and devastation at the end of her beloved character's story. Someday I'll go where there ain't no rain or snow. Till then, I'll travel alone. And I'll make my bed with stars above my head and dream of a place called home. That was my introduction to her, but I also encountered her song, Those Words We Said, which was such an in-the-moment breakup song. I left you with nothing but a few tears in my eyes. Now I'm halfway down the interstate past Highway 99. It's just me and one good wiper blade up against the rain. And I still hear the echo of those bitter words we said. I could drive 1,000,000 miles and never drive them from my head. Those words we said. Find your way, dear heart. Find your way. Sparks Standard. I just have a few sparks for this set. That is, artists with one song in my collection. So I wanted to start with da ding da ding da ding da ding a ding ding a da ding da ding a ding a ding. I slam the door when I walk into the bedroom. Cause I'm the king of the castle. Turn me on, turn me loose. Come on, come on. Try to hit it, this a hassle, come and get some of this. Don't forget the innuendo. Play me like Nintendo. Never ever let go. Keep it so loud, you'll be hitting the crescendo. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yes, 1993, a year that gave us Jurassic Park, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and K7's Come Baby Come, which my husband was 10 at the time, thought it was a fun bop. I think it's a fun bop. From swing, bada bada, swing. Think about baseball, swing all night. Oh, absolutely got Warren in here as well. Why the hell not? Ain't gonna swing with my daughter no more. That's why. And remember when I encountered K7, it was like, whoa, this song is not subtle. Why the hell not? Added. 10 years further along, 2004, we have a feature-length song about Katie Tunstall swiping left on a proposal of marriage from a talking horse. Black Horse and the Cherry Tree. Tina Belcher will not with this song. KT is singing about having encountered a place in the middle of nowhere with a big black horse and a cherry tree. The horse asked her, hey little lady, will you marry me? But she says no, more times than would be strictly necessary. It sounds, however, like her heart had other ideas. She let it go back to the middle of nowhere to the big black horse and the cherry tree, and her heart is oh so happy, and now she's got a hole for the world to see. And I don't know, this sounds metaphorical. I mean, she attributes the entire story to what her heart is telling right up top of the song. Then the events unfold as they do, with the meeting, the rejection, and the giving over of her heart. I mean, the horse has her heart, and she's clearly not getting over it, but oh, talking horse in the middle of nowhere, presumably feeding KT's heart cherries all day from the tree. Who are you? And what do you represent in this story? And a teenage girl in Ocean View, New Jersey isn't not interested in that proposal if it's still... No matter, she's already written several erotic fan fictions. Yeah, I got this one in my collection. I really wouldn't be able to say why. I just thought it sounded fun. Oh, and from the non-zero subset of repurposed doo-wop from the 1980s, I've got Kim Wilde in here singing, set me free, why don't you, babe? Get out of my life, why don't you, babe? 'Cause you don't really love me, you just keep me hanging on. Keep Me Hanging On. 1966, The Supremes lyric video popped up with still images from studio promotion, and oh, wow, the colors and the vibe. So, 60s. Then you get Kim Wilde here appropriating everything and acknowledging none of it, but that's fine. I mean, how many times during the Where Did Our Love Go coda did Soft Cell stop and remind us all it's also a song by The Supremes, or Phil Collins stop during You Can't Hurry Love and remind us all it's also a song by The Supremes. Checks notes. Did the Supremes write all of the music in the 1980s? Let's see if I can track down their version of Karma Chameleon or It's Hip to Be Square. But yeah, do yourself a favor and pull up the official video, which looks like it was filmed before a live studio audience. Some German talk show called Na sowas! You've got Kim Wilde dressed as a Mummenschanz with Daryl Hall's hair on a stage that resembles nothing so much as the hole-in-one set from Price is Right, and nobody, absolutely no person. Video at the 3-minute mark, Speedo guy floating in a wading pool, stage left, just hanging out through this entire performance. Just, wow. Was Na sowas a Graham Norton production? Kelly Clarkson would never do anything like that on her show. Oh, how do I know? I've never seen 1 minute of it. This is barely a segue. I added her Behind These Hazel Eyes, or some remix of it. High Drama Bop released in 2004. I'm not sure. It seemed to feed my soul a little bit. Stuff going on in my life through then, but yeah, coming to realizations, trying to figure out who the hell I was, I guess. When I was, this was for years. I really tried figuring out why nothing was working. And you know what? It's a top 40 pop song. I think I heard it speaking to me, not just the kind of not great message of hide your feelings, don't let anyone see you cry, and the idea not to give anyone power over you, but also, hey, working through feelings of rejection, rebuilding the self you carry out into the world, and here I am, once again, I'm torn into pieces, can't deny it, can't pretend, I thought you were the one broken up deep inside, but you don't get to see the tears I cry behind these hazel eyes. Katy Perry is in here for having kissed a girl in I Kissed a Girl. Different energies from Jill Solow's song by the same title. Sorry to have heard she passed this spring. As for Katy, I see this was her debut single in 2008, years before we met Left Shark, and all I would say about this provocative little song is, I kissed a bear and I liked it. Oh, some would say it's wicked. I kissed a bear and I giggled at how his whiskers tickled. Now, whether it's more upsetting to describe same-sex intimacies among men, or the fact that Katy then started kissing Russell Brand, who went on to describe such intimacies with the Jonas Brothers at the 2008 VMAs, well, Brand's had worse problems since then to focus on. But last time I mentioned adding some songs celebrating same-sex love, including Bears by Kendall Kelly. I was introduced 1,000 years ago now by an online friend, Jay, absolutely stunning cover model for Bear magazine featured in that video. Blink and you'll miss it at timestamp 337. Oof. Well, hello there, young cub. How'd you like to rub-a-dub-dub in my tub? Bubble, bubble, soap. Up. It only gets dirtier the more that I scrub. So innocent and nonchalant. But I know you know what you want. Let me see your ID before I chase that tail. So I don't end up in jail. Well, he's filthy. I love it. As part of, I mentioned up there, Keith Forsey and Breakouts, I got the soundtrack for the Breakfast Club specifically because I wanted to add Carla DeVito's We Are Not Alone to my collection. This single was the track being played when the detentioneers remembered that John had pot and sparked up, and context would absolutely have helped. Brian gets into the AV lab and cues up Carla DeVito's We Are Not Alone as Claire platform dances on the stairs. Andrew shreds some air guitar after, shattering the door to his language lab hotbox, either through operatic shrieking or sheer force of will, and John climbs up and humps the abstract art. They do some Peanut-style dancing individually, then the following things happen. John and Allie moonglide along the railing. Then John, Brian, and Andrew jock rock along the railing. No daylight between them, no homo. Then Claire and Allie fancy dance along the railing. John goes a little crazy, then Allie dances herself into a pile of clothing on the floor, and the song ends. So, Carla DeVito's song and some pot may hold more power to break down walls and build bridges than we think it does. Hell, we're all in our own little universes, but we all want someone to think we're cool, we all want to smoke pot, and we all want to dance. And none of us want to write some lame essay. So, Hey nerd, TPS reports on my desk. Gotta bounce. Joyride! If we dare expose our hearts and reveal the purest parts, that's when street sensations start to grow. We are not alone. You'll find out when your cover's blown, there'll be somebody there to break your fall. We are not alone, 'cause when you get down to the bone, we're really not so different after all. After all. I'd been listening to this song for this one, and I kind of low-key love it. Yeah, it's very excited about this new thing it has discovered called empathy, where we all care about other people and they care about us too. Isn't this incredible? But what's fun to imagine is if we were in a world run by people who'd encountered this message in some kind of universally formative way that focused on the connections they were making with each other instead of just drugs and dancing. Like, if people were in trouble, we'd help out instead of first asking if they deserve our help, or run them through a checklist first. Are they really people? Or are they here legally? Or do they maybe deserve to be held in horrifying, inhumane conditions that have already killed some detainees? If helping them is going to cost, we should make sure the wealthiest among us don't need it more, because priorities, this is really sounding like more of a state thing. Instead of increasing our awareness and understanding of how society and civilization works, we just abdicate all responsibility and just reorganize it so it only works for a vanishingly small percentage of the world's wealthiest families. And you're all on your own. They have to cut down through the bone. Remind we're not so different after all. Might just be me. I prefer the energy of the original, but oh well. Empathy, common humanity, maybe call up an MP3 and take in a show. Collins was in a fun series of books. That Jennifer Lawrence did such a good job, I thought. Media. Commentary. Enjoy. Sparks. World music. And I was once talking about my music collection. Most of my world music is Sparks, although a few I talked about, like the 12 Girls Band, Kashtin, and Kukuruza, were only going to be available on cassette or CD at the time I added them to my collection. You'd think MP3s would make the packaging and release of songs by LPs obsolete, but 45s didn't, and singles didn't, and for about 20 minutes in the 90s they were trying something called mini CDs. They definitely didn't. The availability of just the one song you want to hear on an LP, and I realize it continued to come back to Eagle Eye Cherry. Google suggests he has released at least 3 LPs since his breakout chart topper Saved Tonight on Desireless. You pretty much had to buy it as a CD, certified platinum, and sold 4 million copies, but Wikipedia does not claim to know how many of those were returned for store credit at discontent, or how many people actually listened to anything else on the CD. Oh, he's Swedish too now, so if he were in my collection, he'd also qualify as world music. But I also mentioned that when my husband gave me Fate by STI, which, be fair, probably stood for something else in Korean. This was a song, it's hard to find much information, and he shared the English version and the Korean version. I can't speak to the quality of the translation, but it sounds like it was challenging. First, the complexity of the lyrics in Google's translation from Korean is astonishing, though the quality of the translation looks at least inexact. But listening to the version they released in English, well, they didn't even bother with the second verse, and Google's translation of the lyrics into English seems like there's no way that's what they're singing. Listen up, man. Don't you think that we knew each other in a former life, and I think that we met by fate? We will meet again someday. Since it's a relatively short track, the version that is in my collection is the English version, and slides into the Korean version, then back into the English version. So you're actually listening to the song 3 times, but it's got such a dramatic percussive energy, it works. Last Ketchup is another not technically in this set, but the Spanglish is intriguing. The close harmony female vocals celebrate a beautiful man. Friday night in the disco, here comes Diego, with the magic in his eyes, checking every girl inside, growing as he does the mambo. He's the man I in disco playing sexy, feeling hotter. He's the king of Islando ritmo Akatanga. And the DJ that he knows well, the spot always around, well, plays the mix, Diego mix like salsa. Ila baila, and he dances, Ila canta. I said, hey, ha, de hebe to the hebe, sebe, no, ba, ma, happy, and de boogie, and de boogie, de bee. I said a hey, ha, the hibby to the hibby, sibby, no, ba, ma, hubby, and a boogie, and a boogie, bee. I said a hey, ha, the hibby to the hibby, sibby, no, ba, ma, hubby, and a boogie, and a boogie, bee. Many think it's Buhaya, how he comes and disappears. Every move will hypnotize you. Some will call it Chuhaya, others say that it's a real Africana Gumitano. Lyric Service doesn't even attempt a translation at this point, asserting instead it's an exact transcription of an, at this point, very drunk and high Diego singing along to his favorite song, Rapper's Delight, by the Sugar Hill Gang. Ellen?
I said hip-hop, I hip it to the hip-hip-hop. You don't stop the rock to the bang-bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie the beat.
Thank you, Ellen. Ellen Albertini down from The Wedding Singer, everyone, passed in 2015 at the age of 101. That was lovely. Perfection. No notes. And it's clearly a goof on this song from the parenthetical title from Asara Hey, the Les Ketchup song. And if you do a search trying to add it to your collection because it vanished under Lost Tracks, you have many options. I chose this one because it was the one that I'd had, but they released both English and Spanish language versions of this song as well, though honestly I feel like the Spanglish version is the most fun. And like I mentioned earlier, that's one of the coolest things about songs in other languages. The parts you don't understand simply become part of the vibe. They're just part of the music you're hearing. I don't try to interpret a D minor diminished passage or figure out what is meant by the use of an augmented G7 chord, except that I know bruje means witch in Spanish, so brujeria likely means witchcraft. The words I don't understand slip by me unexamined. They're part of the direct communication of the music, to how the song makes me feel, and then since the chorus is just Rapper's Delight through a filter of drunk and high, that's just part of the energy of the song and, well, the night Diego's having. Honestly, I never realized the man they were singing about had a name, despite his being identified multiple times in the song. Another contributor to attitude is presentation. I've got a song in here that's in French all the way through. It's got a confrontational punk attitude throughout, and it is sung entirely without a French accent. No, not Nina Simone's Ne me quitte pas, which, yeah, sure, also no accent nor discernible intent, but also I feel pretty safe categorizing it as not punk rock, and despite this foreign language entering Nina Simone's An American Treasure, most of her songs are in English, and you know what? We're almost at the ends here anyway. I'll just explore the entire double LP I have of hers in my collection at that time and under influences, but no, band called Says in here. I added this song to my collection almost for the title alone. I basically got Sean Nelson from Harvey Danger or Ed Robertson from Bare Naked Ladies making plaintive demands of me in French, which it feels like shush. Damien Says, who apparently actually is French, so clearly the lyrics delivered in the accent of a first-year American French student is a choice, presents us with a list of observations, some of which I can even sing on here. Faut du gaz dans la bagnole, la carte bleue dans le chat. Faut des ledines des poils noirs, faut bronzer par la vacances. Faut du forfait, oublier de solitude. Faut des garçons sur la télé, ouais, faut des pilules pour bander. Faut du gonzon de la tabac, il faudrait aller tout format. Le seul dispose des machines, faut se souffler sur être. And there's more, but Aralum neb descend to the sing is the same Pluto no metal. Aralum neb descend to the sing is the same Pluto no metal. And j'accuse a megaphone dans l'assemblée, j'accuse. Going through, and the wording is pretty raw, but he's going through the demands of modern life. We need diesel for our cars. We need money to love. We need turkey for Christmas. We need fake tans for our vacations. We need to shop to forget our loneliness. We need hot chicks on TV. We need pills to get hard. We need pot and tobacconist shops. We need to quit smoking. We need machines to exercise. And it goes on, but even in French, I'm skating pretty close to needing an explicit take if I go much further. He goes on to point out that what sounds like corporate and national response to these things, like, oh well, prices of daily life are going up, I guess we just fire our teachers and civil servants and cut health care. And he calls it out, saying, I guess we're not descended from apes, we're descended from sheep. Which, since baton is such a recognizable word, and as I grab my my attention. But yeah, again, wording, but he's pointing out that we're being screwed over by consumer culture, our religion. We should toss our phones, punch news anchors in the face, and arrest them for contributing to mass delusion. A Japanese entry in this collection from Tommy Heavily 6 is another one that resists approximation. I will hardly admit defeat. The high voltage energy of Give Me All Your Love from 2005 morphs back and forth among English and Japanese. It seems to trace rather tumultuous longing from her if the drama in her singing voice is to be interpreted correctly. But, honestly cannot tell you what I was listening to when I added this. It might have been a TikTok video, but it was just a few months ago, because when I bought it, we hadn't even sold the house yet. So yeah, this J-pop entry. First week in April, then about. Finally, I'll close out with, a couple of things. I've got an entry in VideoFuzzy episode 51, A Night in Suburbia, around 30-minute mark, talking about the Battlestar Galactica reboot, the Sanskrit chantcore theme music I pulled in translation program, and without even calling up a single episode, proceeded to sing it from memory, in harmony with myself. Well, may I promise you that had I thrown any one of the many, many copies I have of this TV show into a DVD player and played it, I would never have posted that release anywhere. It is the words, probably. There is harmony. It doesn't sound bad. It just doesn't sound right. Even between jobs, even running around the countryside interviewing glorious musician DJs, even the amount of time it has taken to write this one, I want to say I'm aware of what I can only experience now as a glitch in my musical matrix. It hangs there judging me. Once I have the focus I need to dive back in and do something about it. Reteach myself Sanskrit, perhaps. And it's such an unforced error. Again, no one, absolutely no person on this planet, Terry in episode 51 of VideoFuzzy pulls up a Romanized transliteration of the Gayatri Mantra. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. I talked about them briefly in episode 23 of VideoFuzzy Ghosts in the Podcast, VTech, or maybe it should be attribution problems in my iTunes. I have somebody's single Inner Universe in my collection, and digging into it a bit, along with being the title song for A Season of Ghosts in the Shell standalone complex, the song is a Rosetta Stone of languages sung in Latin, Russian, and English. Oh, not a useful one. Different lyrics are sung in different languages, but part of what has always been so intriguing to me is I could tell at least some of it was clearly in Latin, some of it wasn't, but the English part wasn't always so easy to pick out either, so I wasn't sure what all was being said ever. However, the imagery the song paired with throughout the opening sequence, which, while not helpful in understanding the song, matched the energy of the song at every point, which I thought was just brilliant, and one of the reasons I never fast-forward the opening sequence. That and the song itself is fantastic. I and my Collectivo sang Mayan and Wakanda Forever soundtrack. Adiemos is a Latin inspiration by composer Carl Jenkins. TQG, Carol G's collaboration with Shakira on Manana Será Bonito I added to my collection while I was writing this is in Spanish. Absolutely beautiful song. It's so sad. No idea what they're singing, but whatever it is, it sounds to be drenched in longing and hope. Lorena McKennett's exploration of world music. Luis Fonsi's collaboration with Daddy Yankee and Justin Bieber and Despacito. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, yeah, also popular song of the summer, I think, becoming then the structure of Tim Blaze a cappella Science, Evo Devo. One in Spanish, one in science, both delightful. I'm saying that of the world music I've got in here, I talked last time about Beyonce singing in Italian, I've got Lady Gaga's incantations in French and in gibberish, Roy Bear's Fun Club Bop, Oben Unten in German, Unten Glieben Glauten Globen, Alphaville and Alex Mitty's singing Big in Japan. Teddy Swims with Diego PZK's Spanish language version of his The Door. Madonna's, I'm certain, much more accurate Sanskrit meditation. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti Shanti. Etc. from Ray of Light and La Isla Bonita in True Blue. The Mars Volta singing Elvia Elviaques. Elvia, hija de Miranda, tu apellido se cambió. Elvia, si no me quieres dar una historia sin mi madre. just track that back in my collection because fascinating. I've got Charles Trenet's La Mer in here because I needed to learn it in French for a capital Shakespeare production, Merry Wives of Windsor, back in 2022, and Gotan's Spanish-language tangos, Santa Maria del Bonate, I first encountered in Nip Tuck, and Mathis's English and Côte d'Ivoire-flavored Boom Boom Ba I first encountered in Dead Like Me, Coda's Spanish and English passages, California Dreaming cover, I've mentioned them before, the Spanish language Johant by Essentia, and I've got Arabic vocalization in Sting's Desert Rose, but Google tells me Algerian singer Cheb Mami. It's so cool to listen to all these sounds from different lands, knowing that for people in distant lands, Western, more commercial music can itself seem maybe exotic and foreign, knowing that in every instance people came together to share their creativity, their music, a bit of their magic, and yeah, their love gun and their lick it up. The music, the energy, the inspiration all came from someplace for something to express will, love, or longing, triumph, or loss, or Paul? Getting laid! I just can't wait. American rock often has a pretty singular and uncomplicated focus, but so much of that reaching out for love and connection can be found elsewhere in Benjamin Cole's music as well. Lots of artists writing about life experiences in accessible ways. Music helps us relax, gets us excited, evokes memories, articulates feelings and emotion, lays in the soundtrack for our lives. Some of it is rich, complex, demands attention. Know exactly what we're listening to. Some of it lets us go on about our daily lives while it plays in the background, and it can be the exact same music. Songs you hear for 50 years don't hit until you have an experience the song connects for you, and now you understand it in a different way that speaks to you. I want to appreciate the artists in my collection, the singers and crafters of these songs, the tellers of these stories and casters of these spells. I especially want to thank Benjamin Cole and my friends, I think, if I'm not overstepping, Benjamin Cole and Jason Lunn, new friends from way back, for their time and their insight in helping me find my own way in the world of music and what wonders I've found. And, of course, thank all of you for listening. As always, any music or singing anyone thought they heard in this tiny indie podcast, especially this time with simple sketch reference included for illustrative purposes to prompt listeners to track down and explore commercially available music through officially licensed sources, and is by no means meant to infringe on anyone's copyright, licensing, or distribution agreements. A few links have been included in my show notes as guideposts, otherwise go forth, buy songs, and support the artists you love. And for more, please add, subscribe, and follow me wherever you get your podcasts, or contact me through my links in my show notes, or by emailing tjon1970 at yahoo.com. For VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, I'm Terry J. Aman. Happy listening.
This is podcasting gold. What are you talking about?
Video outtakes.
And if you made it this far specifically to hear me buff through the acapella opening to Russian language Kukuru's release Porushka Poranya, first, shame on your schadenfreude. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and hurt you. All right. Udar. Hi, Porushka Poranya, Divishka Edishivane, Vodiska Ivana, so Porushka Poryava, Shoga Porushka Poryava, Aparato to the Dutkayava, Ulitse Huliska, Dubuvana Porushka, Ulitse Huliska, Vendobinovano Porushka, Porushka Poranya, the Devoska, Divosha. Never gonna give you up. Okay, sorry about that, but I will just point out you had complete control over your stop button the whole time, so this was at least partially on you.